Tribes in Libya are important, but they are not the only factor. And tribalism exists in various gradations in Libya. So you can find some city dwellers who are completely cosmopolitan and have no tribal affiliation. And you can also encounter Libyans who are nearly completely tribal. So what you have in Libya is a very complex matrix with various factors. One of them is tribalism, another is religiosity, and that also has different flavors. Tribal, you can call them religious tribes of sorts, and there's also party tribes, and there's also things like townships and cities, and also regional considerations, and all of these factors together form a very complex differential equation that's very difficult to analyze and solve in many ways. Anybody who ignores tribes in Libya does so at their own peril, because I think they are a very important factor. But also to exaggerate it and make it into the factor in Libya is also not correct. There are many differences, many nuances, and it would be very complicated to dwell into it, into this. But most tribes actually split. It was not these tribes versus these other tribes. The war was between pro-Gaddafi versus anti-Gaddafi forces, and these were mixed. And certain tribes, like my own Warfella tribe, was split. As you know, Bani Walid was one of the last, actually the last, perhaps. I mean, apart from Sirt, town to be liberated. And yet, Warfella, including myself and not few, but many others, including some of the first people who stormed the camp in Benghazi, were involved in the pro-revolutionary forces. And this is across the board. You've got, yes, in certain cities or towns or tribes, it was more or less, but you did have a national split in many ways. So it wasn't along tribal lines, but the tribal element did affect things. Also, past tribal alliances, historical alliances, did affect things. So it's extremely important for democracy to emerge, for there to be a genuine social contract. And one of the things we must keep in mind when talking about Libya is that the social contract will not be just a contract between individuals, because the level of individuality differs depending on how much tribal affiliation or feeling there is. In some cases, you would need a social contract between clans and tribes, in a way, and there has to be a kind of a consensus and a social contract reached between, for example, the Misrata, which is a townish kind of tribal group. I mean, it's not exactly a tribe. Okay, the Warfella, the Zintan, the Redat, these are large blocks that do have to reach some sort of an understanding. But this understanding can only be reached through other factors like politics, like party politics, and like religious discussions also. Because also in religion we've got Salafis of a whole set of variety, ranging from Salafi jihadists to very moderate Salafis. And we've got the Sufis, and we've got the Ikhwan, we've got the Tabligh, we've got and there has to be a national discussion and a national kind of settlement in open discussion that can bring about democracy. And we need to look for those spoilers that would spoil such an open discussion from happening. Bad money is one major spoiler, and I see it very active these days. And that's one big spoiler, and I think we have to pay attention to it. The other thing is the big spoiler is feelings of vengeance and anger, and there is a lot of reconciliation that has to happen, a lot of preaching of forgiveness and